My husband slept with my sister while I was in labor, then sent me proof. Now she's pregnant. My husband hooked up with my sister while I was in labor, then had the audacity to send me proof. Like that wasn't enough to crush someone? Now she's pregnant and suddenly wants forgiveness? Please. Let's not pretend Ellen and I ever had a real bond. She's 32, I'm 31. And from the moment we were old enough to talk, we've been stuck in this toxic cycle. I get it, my judgment might be biased, but you try living in the shadow of someone who's made it her mission to one-up you since grade school. Every club I joined, she joined. Every sport I loved, she jumped in just to outshine me. Didn't matter what it was. Chess, debate, you name it. She had to prove she was better. But there was one thing she couldn't take from me. My sport. I lived and breathed it, trained for years, and I got good. Not just decent, but award-winning good. Then, right when I was at my peak, 14 and focused, Ellen decides she's suddenly into it too. Our parents didn't stop her, of course not. But she didn't take it seriously. She barely practiced, spent more time trashing my form than fixing her own. And on the day of the big competition, she was clearly not ready. Meanwhile, I crushed it. Took home the top prize. My parents were proud, like actually proud of me for once. And Ellen? She exploded, threw a screaming, sobbing fit in front of everyone. Grant and Dr. Keene were mortified, dragging her out before she humiliated herself further. But the drama didn't end there. Back home, they tried to talk her down, told her she didn't have to compete with me to be enough, said they loved her no matter what. But she wasn't hearing it. She turned on me, started yelling like a maniac, and then grabbed my award and smashed it to pieces right in front of us. And yeah, that messed me up. Because I earned that win. I bled for it. She just wanted to ruin it. And that was the first time I realized Ellen wasn't just jealous. She was dangerous. It crushed me. Not just because she broke my trophy, but because I'd poured everything into earning it. Every win I got was through sweat and sacrifice. But Ellen? She didn't care. Grant and Dr. Keene tried to discipline her, made her go to therapy, hoping it would fix the twisted mess in her head. But she sat there, silent, refusing to even admit she had a jealousy problem. And as we got older, it only got worse. Every single morning before school felt like emotional warfare. She'd pick apart my outfits, laugh at my hair, and tell me I looked like a freak, since she was embarrassed to be seen with me. For the record, I'm tall, lean, and I've got long red hair. I liked hoodies, oversized tees, that kind of thing. Ellen was all about skirts and tight tops, like she was walking a runway every day. And sure, she called me ugly, but I knew I wasn't. Guys noticed me. A lot. Even back then. Dr. Keene would scold her for saying nasty stuff, but Ellen just took it to school instead, where she could torment me without consequences. She made it her mission to flaunt how many cool friends she had. Translation, she rolled with the mean girls, the hallway royalty. Me, I stuck with people who didn't make me feel like crap. I was quiet, introverted, not flashy like her. She'd stand around with her crew, pointing at people, whispering trash. And if I walked by, she'd say stuff like, "You're not even my real sister. You must have been adopted or something. loud enough for everyone to hear. Then came high school. At 15, I started a little WordPress blog because writing was my escape. I barely knew what I was doing, but I loved it. Eventually, my blog took off, 2,000 subscribers and counting. A couple of local businesses even reached out, asking me to write about their products. At first, it was just freebies. Then the money started rolling in. Not a ton, but enough to matter. Grant and Dr. Keene were stunned when they found out. I hadn't even told them. But when they saw I was actually making money doing something I loved, they were proud. Grant helped me open a bank account in my name, with him as co-owner until I turned 18. It was for college savings. The day Ellen found out, she lost it. She said it wasn't fair that I was making money and she wasn't, like I owed her something just because we shared DNA. I told her straight up, if she wanted to earn, she could put in the work like I did. Of course, she ran crying to Grant and Dr. Keene, trying to guilt them into siding with her. But for once, they shut it down. So what did Ellen do? She started her own blog. From day one, she acted like it was the easiest thing in the world. She mocked me, said blogging was just typing stuff, and that I was overhyping it. She even had the nerve to tell me she was a better writer than I'd ever be. But when her views stayed stuck at 0, the tantrum started. She couldn't understand how I was landing brand deals while she was yelling into the void. Then came the guilt trips. She tried to bully me into sharing her posts on my page, said, "We're sisters, we should support each other." I wasn't having it. First off, she dragged my writing through the dirt. And second, I genuinely didn't like her content. It was messy, try-hard, and fake. So I said no. After a few months of getting nothing but silence on her end, she gave up. Another passion down the drain. Fast forward to senior year, college application season. Dr. Keene went to an Ivy League, so naturally, both of us grew up eyeing that as the goal. Ellen applied to that one and even reached for one of the top Ivies. Both schools said nope. She ended up enrolling in a decent university here in the city, but it wasn't Ivy League level, and she knew it. Then it was my turn. She straight up told me not to even bother applying to Ivy League schools. Her logic, if she couldn't get in, there was no way I would. I reminded her, very calmly, mind you, that my GPA was spotless and that those schools cared about academics. But she came back with the usual low blows, said I didn't have the right personality, that I wasn't polished or charismatic enough to fit in with that crowd. I ignored her and applied to Dr. Keene's alma mater anyway. And guess what? I got in. When the acceptance email hit my inbox, my first reaction wasn't celebration. It was dread. I knew Ellen would go nuclear, so I didn't tell her right away. Grant and Dr. Keene broke the news during a casual family dinner when she came over for the weekend, and, predictably, she flipped. She denied it at first, said it couldn't be real. When they showed her the letter, she called it fake, claimed she was a way better student than me, and she didn't even make the cut, so clearly something shady was going on. Grant and I were both exhausted by the tantrum. I never even saw her as competition, but she treated every win of mine like a personal attack. Grant tried to calm her down, told her she could have just congratulated me. Dr. Keene once again suggested therapy. Ellen lost it, screamed that she was the firstborn and never wanted a sibling in the first place. Then she stormed out of the house mid-dinner, like we were all supposed to feel guilty. That was it for me. I drew the line. We were adults now. Her high school-level jealousy should have been buried years ago. I needed space. Real space. College changed everything. New city, new people. I finally got to be me, not Ellen's shadow. I made friends, found hobbies that had nothing to do with her. For the first time, I wasn't living in comparison mode. I had my own thing going, and it felt good. But even with academics off the table, Ellen found new ways to compete. She got all passive-aggressive when I started dating Patrick before she found someone. And when we moved in together, the snide little digs never stopped. Eventually, she met this guy, Josh. Seemed solid. And suddenly, she wasn't so mean anymore. I could tell she had this unspoken mission. Be the first to get married, first to have kids, whatever. I wasn't rushing anything. Then on Christmas, she dropped the big news. She was getting married in 2023. And for once, I was genuinely happy for her. I gave her and Josh a hug, told them congrats, and weirdly, she hugged me back. First time in forever. For a moment, I actually thought maybe we were getting somewhere. I called Ellen, hoping, maybe stupidly, that she'd handle the news like an adult. She already knew about Patrick's brother's diagnosis, so I thought she'd understand why we were moving quickly. I explained everything calmly. A small wedding, just close family and a few friends, nothing fancy. I made it clear that her big wedding was still her moment, and I wasn't trying to take anything away from her. I even told her how much it meant to Patrick's brother to be there while he still could. But no, Ellen didn't hear a word of it. She immediately accused me of being jealous, said I was using a dying man as an excuse to beat me down the aisle. Then, without skipping a beat, she said, "This is why I've hated you since you were born." That hit me like a truck. I was already drowning emotionally with everything going on, and now my own sister was twisting the knife. I told her she was the first person in the family I called because, for once, I thought we could just be happy for each other. But of course, she couldn't let that happen. She screamed that I was a selfish, jealous snob and that she wouldn't come to the wedding. Then she went even darker. She said she wished Patrick had died instead of his brother, just so I wouldn't get married. I felt like the ground vanished underneath me. I started second-guessing everything. Was I wrong for moving forward? Was I being selfish? But Grant and Dr. Keene stood by me. They told me I'd done nothing wrong and that they were proud of both their daughters, no matter what Ellen thought. They promised they'd be there at my side, and they were. We got married the next day. It was simple. It was emotional, and it was perfect for us. We took photos with Patrick's brother, and I'll never forget the way he smiled, like we'd given him something to hold on to. Later, I posted a few wedding pictures online. I thought maybe Ellen would finally act like a sister and say something kind, but no. She called me raging, told me to take the photos down, said I had to wait until after her wedding so people wouldn't find out I got married first. I told her absolutely not. I wasn't going to erase one of the most important moments of my life just to keep her ego intact. If she wanted to hate me, she could. I was done chasing her approval. Patrick and I were genuinely happy despite everything. He had a high-pressure job and couldn't take more time off, so right after the ceremony, we flew back home. Honestly, he'd always been the most attentive boyfriend, and that didn't change after we got married. He made time for us, even when his job pulled him in a million directions. For a while, things felt good, solid. Then, a few months later, Ellen married Josh, just like she'd planned. I didn't go, obviously, but I still sent her a big bouquet with a handwritten card. I meant it, too. I was happy for her. I even looked through the photos she posted online and thought maybe she'd finally settled into something good. But nope. A few weeks after the wedding, Dr. Keene called me. Her voice was tight. Apparently, Ellen had been cheating on Josh with a coworker, and he had just found out. Total disaster. People were talking, judging. Ellen tried to spin it by saying she wanted an open marriage, but Josh wasn't having it. He filed for annulment almost immediately. Poor guy, he actually loved her, and she blew it up in record time. As if that wasn't enough heartbreak for our family, tragedy hit again. Patrick's brother passed away. We flew back for the funeral, and I've never seen Patrick so broken. Something inside him just shut down. He was numb, angry, unreachable. It was like the man I married vanished overnight. He wasn't the same. He wasn't sweet. He wasn't present. The smallest things would set him off. He'd go from 0 to screaming in seconds. I begged him to go to grief counseling, and he did. Once. But nothing changed. He stopped going to work, stopped caring. Eventually, he got fired. Now, he just sat around in stained pajamas, glued to the TV or gaming until 2 a.m. Meanwhile, I was pulling 12-hour shifts as a paramedic, exhausted, mentally fried, and still trying to hold us together. But no matter how many times I tried to talk to him, he just shut me out. Then the phone thing started. He'd always left his phone out in the open before. No password, no secrets. But suddenly, he was guarding it like Fort Knox. That was when my gut started screaming that something wasn't right. He kept asking what time I'd be home from work, and not in a sweet, can't wait to see you kind of way. More like he was making sure he had time to himself. Sometimes he'd even straight up suggest I stay out longer. He stopped spending time with me completely. Didn't care about my day, never asked how I was feeling, but somehow he always had the energy to blow money on takeout, new tech, random gifts for himself like he was some teenage bachelor. Then, out of nowhere, I found out I was pregnant. I hadn't had a period in months, but with the stress from work, I just thought my body was in burnout mode. Pregnancy wasn't even on my radar. So when I saw that positive test, my jaw hit the floor. When I told Patrick, he didn't look shocked or thrilled, just blank. I gave it to him straight. If he didn't want to be a dad, he could walk. No drama, no games. But he told me he was happy about it, that we'd figure it out. From the moment that test turned positive, my life turned upside down. I got slammed with the worst kind of morning sickness, hyperemesis gravidarum. I was constantly nauseous, weak, and barely able to stand some days. I had to quit working, stopped going out completely. I wasn't myself anymore. Grant and Dr. Keene stepped in to help with everything. Laundry, meals, cleaning. I was too sick to do anything. Meanwhile, Patrick had gotten a job again, and he was handling the bills. I promised him I'd go back to work after the baby because, truthfully, I hated being homebound. But things got tense. He'd come home from work and complain, say I was lazy, that I was being dramatic. I'd be curled up on the couch in pain, and he'd act like I was just playing victim. We started fighting more, even though I barely had the energy to talk. Then, the day my water broke, I called him. Once, twice, 12 times. Nothing. I texted him, told him it was time, and that he needed to get to the hospital. No response. So I asked Grant and Dr. Keene to drive me. They didn't hesitate. I was in the hospital bed, contractions ripping through me, and my mom was right beside me, holding my hand. Then, my phone buzzed. She checked it, assuming it was him, but when she looked at the screen, her face went pale, completely frozen. I asked her what it was. She wouldn't answer. I asked again, begged. Finally, she passed me the phone with shaking hands, her eyes full of pity. I opened the message. and my whole world split in half. It was a photo of Ellen, my sister, naked in bed with Patrick, and right below it, her message, "Good luck being a single mom. I've taken your husband." I just stared at it, frozen, numb. My stomach turned, and for a second, I thought I might pass out right there in the delivery room. I called him, took 4 rings. He answered casually like I was asking him to pick up milk. "Hey, what's up?" I lost it. I shouted through tears, asked him what the hell he was doing in bed with my sister, and he didn't deny a thing. Just said it, flat. I fell in love with Ellen. Told me how she'd been there for him after his brother died, that she reached out, they started talking, one thing led to another. Like that somehow made this less insane.
He said they'd been sleeping together for months. Months! All behind my back. And get this, he said he was planning to keep the affair secret until I gave birth. But Ellen couldn't wait anymore. She wanted me to know, right then, right when I was in labor. She chose that moment. He started with the half-hearted apologies, but I cut him off. Told him I didn't want his damn excuses. I'd see him in court. Cheating was a deal breaker, full stop. I didn't care if he cried or begged. He chose to blow up our life with my sister. I sobbed through my entire delivery. My heart was shattered into 1,000 sharp pieces. But by some miracle, my baby girl, Lily, was born healthy and perfect. Dr. Keene was crying as she held my hand, and Grant couldn't stop staring at Lily, repeating over and over how proud he was of me. Our friends, our extended family, they all showed up, and I made damn sure they knew exactly what Ellen had done. Grant and Dr. Keene called her the same night, told her she was dead to them, said she was no longer their daughter, and that they were ashamed to have ever raised someone like her. She tried to justify it, claimed she and Patrick were in love. Grant wasn't having it. Told her she was off the will. Done. We blocked her on everything. A few cousins even messaged her some harsh truths. I didn't stop them. She deserved it.
I also reached out to Patrick's mom and showed her what her son had done. She was horrified. Tried to talk sense into him, but it was already way too late. I packed my things and moved into my parents' house. And when Patrick came crawling back, telling me he'd made a mistake after talking to his mom, I didn't even look at him. He wanted to see Lily. I told him not a chance. Not until the court said otherwise. I didn't trust him, and I wasn't about to let him or Ellen anywhere near my daughter. What they did wasn't just betrayal, it was unhinged. And I was done being the one who forgave everyone just because they shared blood with me. I hired a solid lawyer and filed for divorce. Patrick tried everything to get out of paying alimony. He pushed hard, acted like he was the victim, but the court didn't buy it. The fact that he cheated on me while I was pregnant sealed his fate. The judge shut him down fast. I was awarded primary custody of Lily. He only got supervised visits. My lawyer presented everything: his erratic behavior, the depression and outburst after his brother died, the emotional instability. It was all there, and the court saw the red flags for what they were. It's been 8 months since the divorce was finalized. Patrick sends child support like clockwork, but that's about it. He rarely shows up to see Lily, and honestly, I'm okay with that. Every now and then, he tries to apologize, like that's supposed to fix anything. I don't even respond. He made his choice. I went back to work because I had to.
Someone had to provide for Lily, and I wasn't about to rely on anyone else. Dr. Keane watches her during the day, and when I get home, I take over. She's my entire world. She's the reason I haven't fallen apart completely. Then, just yesterday, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but I did. And the voice on the other end made my blood run cold. It was Ellen. I froze. I'd blocked her months ago. But now here she was, using someone else's phone to sneak through. She begged me not to hang up, said she'd been trying to reach me for months and just wanted to talk. I cut her off immediately, told her I had nothing to say and she had no business calling me. But before I could hang up, she blurted it out. Lily's going to have a little brother. Shock. Disgust. Rage. It all slammed into me at once.
I asked her what the hell she meant, and Ellen, without even a hint of shame, told me she was pregnant. With Patrick's baby. She said it like it was supposed to mean something to me. Then she had the audacity to tell me that now, for the sake of her unborn child, I should forgive her. That we should move past everything, like all of this was just some petty sister fight. I shut that down real fast. I told her I didn't give a damn if she was pregnant or not. I wanted nothing to do with her. Nothing now, nothing ever. She flipped. Started screaming about how I was the reason Grant and Dr. Keane cut her off, how none of our extended family would even return her calls, how Patrick didn't want the baby and was pressuring her to end the pregnancy, how she had no one. I laughed. She wanted sympathy after what she did? I reminded her she chose to crawl into bed with my husband while I was literally carrying his child. That she sent me that disgusting photo while I was in labor, like she was proud of it. I told her she made her bed and now she could rot in it. Alone. I even wished her luck being a single mom without a single soul to lean on. She deserved it. After the call, I talked to a few close friends. Some of them totally backed me. They said I was right to shut her down. But a few thought I was being harsh, that I knew how hard it was to be pregnant and alone, and maybe I should at least try to make peace. So yeah, that's why I'm here, Reddit. I need an unbiased take. Am I the asshole for refusing to forgive my sister after she slept with my husband, destroyed my family, and now wants sympathy because she ended up abandoned? After everything, I did take a moment to reflect. I had been holding so much rage, so much grief, and it was starting to feel like a second weight on my chest. But let me make something very clear. My anger wasn't just aimed at Patrick. He was just as guilty. He broke every vow, every promise, and betrayed me at the most vulnerable point of my life. But what cut deeper, what still haunts me, was that it was Ellen, my sister, the same girl who had spent our entire lives trying to one-up me, drag me down, compete over things that never should have been a competition. Whether it was school, friends, achievements, or attention, she needed to be better, louder, first. And still, despite all of that, I never wanted a war. I didn't ask for rivalry. I just wanted a sister. A real one. Someone I could trust. Someone to look up to. Instead, I got a bully in designer heels, smiling sweet in front of others, but always ready to stab me in the back when no one was looking. I'll never forgive her. No matter what anyone says, no matter how many apologies she throws my way, it's not happening. But I did make one thing clear to my parents. If they ever decide they want to have a relationship with Ellen and her child, I won't stand in the way. That's their choice to make. I just won't be part of it. 3 months later, life's been busy, to say the least. Between work and taking care of Lily, I barely have time to breathe. For everyone asking, Lily's doing great. She's a happy, giggly little bundle of chaos, and I swear I fall in love with her more every single day. Patrick doesn't really visit her anymore. And honestly, I don't mind. When the time comes, I'll tell Lily everything, in a way she can understand. Until then, she's loved, safe, and surrounded by people who actually care. As for Ellen, yeah, I finally talked to my parents about it. They had no idea she was pregnant, and when I told them it was Patrick's baby, they were as shocked and disgusted as I was. Dr. Keene started crying. Watching her break down like that almost cracked me too. I could see the hurt in both their faces. They were crushed. Grant ended up calling Patrick, wanted to hear it straight from him. And wow, he really let it all spill. Turns out, right after our divorce, Ellen dropped him like garbage, said she wasn't into him anymore, and started dating around. It messed him up. He'd been clinging to the idea that they were some great tragic love story. Then, out of the blue, she called him weeks later and told him she was pregnant. He didn't want the baby. He told her flat out they weren't together, they weren't married, and he didn't see a future with her. But she said she was keeping the baby anyway, that she wanted to be a mom, like me. She actually told him, if Reese can do it with Lily, then so can I. Like this was some kind of game. He begged her to think it through, tried to explain how hard parenting is, especially alone. But she wouldn't hear it, said he better get ready. All he agreed to was child support. No involvement, no co-parenting. After that conversation, my parents finally saw it for what it was. Ellen hasn't changed. She's not building a life. She's still chasing mine. It's exhausting, and I refuse to let Lily grow up in that same toxic mess.
I told them again, if they want to have contact with her or the baby, it's up to them. But I'm out. And to their credit, they didn't jump at the chance. I think part of them already knew the truth. They just needed to hear it out loud. Now I'm house hunting, looking for a place where Lily and I can build a future that doesn't have Ellen's shadow hanging over it. It's been a few months since everything exploded, and life has slowly started to reshape itself into something survivable. I finally moved out of my parents' place. Lily and I have our own apartment now. A modest, quiet little spot where for once it feels like the air isn't heavy with memories or resentment. I hired a babysitter to help out while I work. It's not perfect, but it's ours. And that makes all the difference. Being a single mom is exhausting in ways no one prepares you for, but I'm managing. Every day brings a new challenge, but also little victories, like Lily's laugh when she wakes up, or the way she clings to my finger while falling asleep. Those tiny moments, they're what keep me going. Ellen gave birth a few weeks ago. Only Dr. Keene went to see her. Grant refused, and I understand why. My mom told me that she didn't go there for Ellen. She went there for the child. And while she was there, she made sure Ellen understood that forgiveness wasn't on the table. She told her how deeply everyone had been hurt, how disappointed the entire family was in her. Ellen begged, cried, pleaded for a second chance. But my mom was clear. What's done is done. There's no coming back from some things. I'm sure it crushed her to say those words to her own daughter, but Ellen earned that silence. Grant hasn't said a word to Ellen since everything went down. He wants nothing to do with her or the child, and he's stuck to that. Meanwhile, they both still visit me and Lily on the weekends.
They help out however they can. They've been my rock through this storm. And Patrick? He's paying child support. Not just for Lily, but now for Ellen's son too. Honestly, I can't even describe how humiliating that is. Knowing the same man who broke me is now linked to both our children. There are nights when I still cry into my pillow, asking questions I'll never get answers to, wondering how people I trusted could do something so brutal, so deliberate. That's why I started therapy, because I know I can't carry this weight forever. I'm learning that healing doesn't look like peace and smiles all the time. Sometimes it's just getting through the day without breaking. But I'm doing it. For Lily. For me. And I'll keep doing it, no matter how long it takes.